Mr. Mistry, moving beyond the banking sector on the overall sort of direction that you read into this, and I'm sure the intent as we are reading from the press release, it starts, Mr. Mistry, by talking about the ease of business ranking of the country. Then it talks about manufacturing focus, and let me tell you, the manufacturing Make in India word, Skill India focus is pervasive throughout the press release. Pretty much every paragraph of this 6-7 press statement is focusing on manufacturing and the sectors which I really want your view when I recount the sectors once more as to what kind of message it would send, Mr. Mistry, to investors around the world. It talks about LLPs, it talks about NRI investments through companies controlled by them, it talks about, most crucially, I think, establishment and transfer of ownership and control of Indian companies. It mentions agriculture and animal husbandry, plantation, mining, broadcasting, defense, civil aviation, increase of sectoral caps, construction, cash and carry wholesale trading, single brand retail, banking, as well as manufacturing. What does this tell you, sir?
My sense is that what it tells us is that the government clearly is sending a message that they want to encourage more of investment coming into India, which is something which is very important. We have to get the investment cycle going in a big way, and capital is required for making the investment cycle going. So capital can be domestic and foreign. If more foreign capital comes in, the government is welcoming that, and I think once the process is simplified, which is what the circular is saying, then effectively we will get more money coming into India, which in the long term will result in more jobs getting created, it will result in more income getting generated, it will mean more consumption will take place because there is more income. And as consumption takes place, companies which today have capacity will start using up those capacities and will start looking to make investments themselves. So all this is signaling towards more investment happening, more jobs getting created, more income getting generated, which I think is all very, very positive.
Mr. Mistry, before I let you go, one more quick point that I want you to reflect upon. This press release says in the normal course, the policy corrections in 16 areas would have taken at least 1 year to process and get approval. The government making a point about the speed of decision making, and also the other point about that foreign investors should not face fragmented ownership issues and get motivated to deploy their resources and technology with full force. Music to the ears, sir?
I think so. I would say so.
Okay, Mr. Mistry, thank you so much for joining us on Bloomberg TV, and very happy Diwali to you once again. At this stage, let me welcome Vivek Gupta of BMR, who is on the line with us. Vivek, thank you so much. We perhaps pulled you out of pre-Diwali celebrations, Choti Diwali celebrations, but there's clearly big news for people in the space as you and FDI experts such as you. What do you make of all that you've been hearing? 15 sectors, several changes. We are still sort of trying to put it in context. Everything, banking, civil aviation, defense, broadcast, manufacturing, everything on the table, including cash and carry and single brand retail. The word multi-brand retail not being mentioned, let me caution you and our viewers. What's your first reading?
See, I think one fact has been made very clear in the way investment has happened in India in the past 2-3 years, which is that if you make small changes, what the government calls refinements, that really haven't worked. So, for example, defense was opened up, is somewhat liberalized, but we didn't see a slew of defense investments coming into the company, coming into the country for the reason that the defense manufacturers want full control over their technology. So a situation where they can have a joint venture partner perhaps does not entirely suit them. So what this tells me at a macro level is that the government is prepared to take big bang steps, and it is only big bang reform that historically within the FDI context has brought in foreign money meaningfully into the country. So that's the macro point. The 2 or 3 other interesting subtexts, I think, in this whole announcement would be, A, you're absolutely right, the government does not mention multi-brand retail trading. I think with the kind of positions that that this government is politically taken on multi-brand retail trading, I don't think that they're able to, at this point in time, make meaningful departures from that position politically any which way. However, it would be interesting to see what kind of leeway they have provided for A, e-commerce, and B, wholesale cash and carry. Because somewhere the lines between wholesale cash and carry, multi-brand retail trading, e-commerce, from a structuring perspective, blur.
Vivek, hold on. Vivek, hold on. I have to interrupt you with some more details that we are getting in sector specific. And Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani joins us right at this point, opportune time. Minimum area and investment conditions removed in construction. Mr. Hiranandani, let me repeat, minimum area and investment conditions removed in the construction sector. Read with the press statement which says further refining of foreign investment in key sectors like construction, where 50 million houses for poor are to be built. How big is this change, Mr. Hiranandani? Okay, we have lost Mr. Hiranandani, and as we reconnect with him, let me further add some more information that's coming in for the real estate sector. Each FDI funded real estate project is going to receive a differential treatment. Each project will be treated as a separate one, which perhaps allows for greater flexibility, greater inflows if you are able to carve out your entire parcel of properties on a piece-by-piece, unit-by-unit, project-by-project basis. Vivek, continuing the conversation with you, how would you respond to this point, including the fact that exit from construction projects which have FDI, there has been a change with regard to the term. If you do it within 3 years, you can do it via the automatic sector. And that is as far as the construction sector is concerned. Quick reaction from you, Vivek, before I go to Jagannatham Tungutla of Karvi, who is waiting with us here. Vivek.
I'm not sure what the exact change here is, but it seems like real estate sector could do with the money that will flow in from liberalization in this space. So any liberalization here, I think, would be music to the ears of developers who are struggling with access to capital at this point.
Okay, Vivek, hold the line, because this is all coming in bursts and drips, and therefore we are constrained by the news flow. But Jagannatham, you've been patiently listening into what seems to have been done. Your first reaction, Mahurat trading on Diwali tomorrow, a bumper Mahurat expected?
Yeah, it will be definitely better than today, that's for sure. I think markets have been waiting for this for quite some time, and I feel that maybe government is waiting for the Bihar elections to be through. I think so that there will be blue sky scenario, no election kind of pressures. I think they can go ahead with the policy reforms. I feel this is quite welcome. I think whole nuances and bits and pieces have to be studied more in detail, but nevertheless, at least the intent is quite clear.
Okay, the point that Vivek was also making with regard to various sectors and multi-brand retail not there, but how would you sort of look at the line which says opening up the manufacturing sector for wholesale retail and e-commerce? And this therefore means e-commerce to source from India, because we know the e-commerce companies, and they have received a whole lot of foreign inflows and have been sort of riding on the tiger's tail, so to say. There are very complicated structures through which those operations are running from in this country. Is your expectation that they would have simplified it and made a situation which is sort of quasi situation into a practical situation on the ground, Jagannatham?
Yeah, e-commerce has been a real game changer in the true sense of the way the business is being done, the way the customers are choosing, the way the whole lenders, suppliers, and everybody is associated with the business. So I think government has to step in and get the equation right. As you rightly said, they have received billions of dollars of funding. So if the government has to ensure that this should not be only to create 2-3 billionaires out of maybe young entrepreneurs. Not just that. So they have to create the whole ecosystem in such a fashion that India should be the beneficiary in terms of manufacturing sector and more jobs to be created. So all in all put together, I think this is a welcome move. I think if this e-commerce wave can be extended into the manufacturing vertical, so that the Make in India can be more progressive and more inclusive.
Okay, Jagannathan, hang in there, please, because Niranjan Hiranandani is back on the line with us. Mr. Hiranandani, clearly 100% FDI in completed projects allowed. This is construction. The exit norms simplified. The minimum area requirement changed. And this, apart from what we are now picking up in terms of the definition for real estate, hotels, tourist resorts, hospitals not to be subjected to lock-in, minimum floor area, minimum cap no longer needs to be brought in 6 months, each phase to be considered as separate project. And this is coming in even as we are also getting other information, my producers telling me that FDI in defense up to 49% now put on the automatic route. But Mr. Hiranandani, your reaction to the specifics of the changes made as far as the construction sector is concerned, sir?
I think this was coming. You have to understand that the government in the finance ministry was unable to actually push the real estate investment trust and the infrastructure bonds which were expected in this year. And we were expecting more than $10 to $15 billion of investment, and which did not come because the final budgetary requirements which were required to be modifying the Finance Act did not happen. Now, with requirements of construction industry, infrastructure, and housing expanding to meet the Prime Minister's objective of 2022, and also the railways, the road sector and other sectors growing very fast, small towns, smart cities coming up, it is imperative to be able to attract capital. Number two, the Prime Minister has been going all over the world in order to market India, to make in India, and as a follow-up through, it was necessary to make these amendments because otherwise how would the money come in? So I think this was expected in some form or the other. Of course, the timing was unknown, but we had to have it in order to see that money to come into India in order to bring in adequate amount of capital to meet his objectives of infrastructure and the projects announced by them. I think this was coming.
One more line, Mr. Hiranandani, one more line to bring to you. All conditions, and I'm going to request our producers to play back that line on our screen. All conditions and the conditionalities that are related to projects have been scrapped as far as some specific projects are concerned. All rules in construction FDI except the 3-year lock-in have been scrapped. Mr. Hiranandani.
Well, that's a positive